and also over the age of 60 for a duration of some 6 months is what is being offered as some respite for those that are afflicted with kidney issues. That's the latest on that particular one. Because of course the issue of the dialysis issues, they've always been there, but I think they became front and center sometime last year. With many people highlighting the plight of those who have to go 2-3 times a week and the cost associated with it, also the increases that have come along with that.
There's actually a report that would listen to shortly on the, because a man in the central region himself who is a kidney patient, he's indicated that, well, the people went there to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital to go and get the free medical, package that had been promised by the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And the basis for making that promise was the fact that he said it had come to his attention that the cost of dialysis was too expensive, and for some strange reason, a lot of our people were getting their dialysis issues. And so the basis was to have this made free for our people. And he had made mention of this situation. So let's listen to Dr. Bawumia briefly, and then we'll come back and have a conversation here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.
Well, it is very important to deal with the burden of sickle cell sufferers, and that is now covered. The same thing with childhood cancer, and childhood cancer is now also covered under the NHIS. One of the things that we are now starting to do, and the ministry, the National Health Insurance Authority is releasing some money for this, is to look at dialysis patients, because we are seeing a lot of kidney problems that are in there for a lot of our citizens across the country. And so what we are aiming to do is to bring dialysis treatment under the NHIS, just like we've done for hydroxyurea for sickle cell sufferers and also the childhood cancer. Now, I think that we can do this. The cost, I think, if a lot of the treatment can actually be produced in Ghana, and I think this is where we need to now focus on, rather than importing this. We should bring the technology here and produce what is used for that. And I believe that once we do that, we will bring down the cost significantly. But the NHIA is going to disburse in the next few weeks 2 million Ghana cedis to support dialysis.
So in the next 6 months, Helen, if you have the document quickly, you'd run us through. In the next 6 months, dialysis patients or kidney patients are going to benefit from this, according to Dr. Bawumia. But yesterday, we're told that some of them were sent away. But what does the document say exactly, so we can contextualize the conversation?
All right, so this I'm actually picking from the NHIS Ghana Twitter page, and it says public announcement: the government of Ghana, through the NHIA, in its 20th anniversary celebration, is pleased to announce a significant enhancement to its health benefit coverage due to dialysis patients for a period of 6 months as follows. So it says A, vulnerable groups, and that's patients aged below 18 and above 60. 1, patients aged under 18 and above 60 years will receive all 8 free dialysis sessions per month under the National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS, from June to December 2024, as indicated on table 1. And there's a breakdown of the months, the 6 months, right. June, July, August, October, and then it tells you the number of verified patients to be paid per month, and then the total cost. It says the cost of dialysis for these categories upon verification of the actual patients on the dialysis is projected at some 329,952 per month, and by the end of December 2024, the cumulative cost is estimated to be approximately 2.3 million Ghana cedis. So B, persons aged 18 to 59 years Patients from Komfanoche Teaching Hospital, Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, Ifeankwanta Regional Hospital, Ho Teaching Hospital, and Tamale Teaching Hospital, except Kolebu, will receive 2 dialysis sessions per month. That's 982 cedis. So that's 491 per session, as indicated in the table below. And they break that down by the months. And these are the other hospitals, what they will receive.
Okay.
And it goes on, just a few more pages that break down the cost as per the different hospitals. It's fairly lengthy, so I can pause it here.
Thomas Parkwesi Atkinson Khan is our correspondent in the Central Region, joins us on the phone line. Thomas, good morning. Thank you very much for your time.
Hi, good morning, Jordan.
Great. Now, tell us where you are this morning. I know you've been crisscrossing the region, but where exactly are you this morning?
Well, Johnny, I happen to be at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, trying to get some more information. And Johnny, like you know, myself, I'm a dialysis patient.
Right.
I had my session yesterday, and with all the conversations going on, I came around to find out if there is any communication at the unit for the announcement that has been made for persons under 18 and those 16 and above to enjoy free dialysis session, if it's taking effect. But as I speak to you, those here who are not ready to speak on record, and I'm gathering that there hasn't been any official communication to the unit for them to implement that directive.
I see.
So
bottom line is that if I walk in this morning to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital with a dialysis patient, they will not be getting free dialysis service as has been promised by the Vice President.
Yes, at the moment, they say there hasn't been any official communication to the unit. So if you walk in with a patient in that category, the person has to pay.
How was this announcement by the Vice President received by dialysis patients? I know that you have some association of a sort. What was the reaction?
Johnny, I think it was a mixed reaction. For those who fall within that category, it was hallelujah for them. 92.7. And for those of us who do not belong to that category, it was kind of a sad story for us.
I see.
Because we've always been crying and pleading to government to hear this cry, to either reduce the cost of dialysis drastically or even make it free. And this kind of announcement, we would say we commend them, but again, we feel that they could have done better, because those who were exempted from this kind of policy form the majority of the patient population. So, Johnny, just do the calculation, do the analysis, and see how the whole thing is like. For instance, when it comes to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital,
right,
I have done dialysis here for 11 years.
Okay.
Unfortunately, those who fall under 18, we lost all of them. So at the moment, we don't even have one patient who fall under 18 and below 18. So that category, we have 0. And then when you go to 60, just have a handful of them.
I see. Can tell me, now they received this message and pledge from the Vice President regarding dialysis with a lot of glee and joy. Now that they know that they have to pay and that no official word has come to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital specifically, how are they reacting?
They are really disappointed. And at a point, I heard one man, a retired teacher, who thought that it was just the personnel there who were trying to, be difficult there. But they told them it wasn't their fault. They've not had any official communication for them to make it free. This old man was, very disappointed. Another retired educationist also this morning even called me to find out what's the latest is. Everybody for those who were coming to the hospital to get that free dialysis that they didn't get, they are all disappointed, and they want the government to come clear.
I see.
Because they've really suffered enough and battled, obstacles to even raise money to come to the hospital.
Finally, before I let you go, and we'll jump into Parliament shortly, but tell me, so now the promise was made, it has not been fulfilled, they are disturbed. But there are two legs of the conversation. One that suggests that this is just a vote buying scheme to get the buy-in of people who have kidney issues, so that within the next 6 months until the elections are done, they will then be convinced to vote for the government. That's one. And then there's another leg of the conversation that's asking the question as to whether we have enough dialysis machines and why we did not improve on the facilities before we made this announcement. What has your association been saying, and what do you hear from the ground?
Well, Johnny, this is one of the issues that some of the patients have been talking about. Some felt that, maybe this is just political talk. And because we are during the election period, that is why such an intervention has been announced. But again, some also feel that even if it's political talk, at least it will bring some relief. Only that they want the government to come clear with it. And again, Johnny, you asked about the machine. You come to the facility, in fact, it's not the best. The other time I told you we were left with 4.5. At the moment, I can say that the 4.5 is almost reducing to 3 fully functional, because the 1.5 that was kind of also operating at half capacity is also not in the best of shape. So at the moment, just 3 are fully functioning. The others that were half functioning is also becoming problematic. And Johnny, another sad aspect of the whole thing now, people are not coming to the hospital. The numbers have reduced. Mind you, I told you those who were exempted from the free policy, we form the majority of the patient population. Because of the increment, people are not getting money to go to the hospital. So the number of sessions that they have to go, they are not going. Now we are hearing that the 8 sessions, that is if you do 2 sessions a week. So 8 sessions, you do 8 sessions a month.
I see.
We hear the health insurance is coming in to pay 2 out of the 8 sessions.
Okay, I hear
for
you.
patients to bear the cost of 6 sessions.
Right.
For many of the patients, we say it's a relief, but again, it's still on the high side.
I hear you.
Because of the increment.
Great.
It's still not easy for us at all.
Thomas Khan, thank you so much indeed. I'm sure we can get back to you on such a conversation again, but we're grateful that you could speak with us, and we wish you all the best.
All right.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Now, Kwabena Minta Akando is the Member of Parliament for Djabuso, and he joins us now on the phone line. We lost Kwabena on the phone line. We'll have to raise Kwabena Minta Akando on the phone line again. He's also the ranking member on the Health Committee of Parliament. And Helen, the disappointment on the ground is, I don't know how to describe it, but clearly the people are not happy that they were promised one thing. They trooped to the hospital, and there's nothing. and they're asked to pay. So, Kant's closing thoughts suggest that there are people who are not able to come to the hospital because they do not have the money. So if eventually they hear that, oh, this is going to be free for all of us, and they decide that, okay, let me at least get something small, get a vehicle and come to the hospital, and they get there and there's nothing, they naturally will feel very disappointed.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what happened, I'm told.
But it's curious because the NHIS document says June, and we're in June 2024. It's captured in the document.
But they went yesterday.
That's right.
Yesterday is 4th of June.
4th June, so well within the time frame that was stipulated. But
let's connect now with Honorable Kwabena Minta Kando. He's the MP for Jaboso. He's also the ranking member of the Parliament's Committee on Health. He's also a farmer. For those who don't know, he has very good rice called Pectra rice. Honorable, good morning. Thank you very much for your time.
Is that Johnny?
This is Johnny. How are you, sir?
By God's grace, I'm fine.
Great. I'm sure that you heard a bit of the conversation I had with Thomas Khan, Central Regional Correspondent, who also is a dialysis patient. He says that yesterday they trooped to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, hoping that the Vice President's promise that the NHIS was going to pay for free dialysis on their behalf was a total fiasco. There was no show. What do you say to that?
Johnny, I don't know why the Vice President continues to do this to himself. And Johnny, you agree with me that at a point in time, I was the Lone Ranger on this issue of dialysis, if you remember.
Right.
We started this conversation as far back last year, and we never heard the voice of the Vice President when we started that advocate. We never heard the voice of the Vice President on this matter. Now, the main reason why I'm saying that, I don't know why he continues to do this to himself and people call him a liar and all that, is that what has really happened, the Vice President has absolutely no idea about what has happened. What has happened? What has happened is that when we started the conversation about subsidies on the cost of dialysis, the government promised at the time, the minister responsible for health said that government was going to absorb the cost of dialysis, and he even mentioned national health insurance.
Right.
Now, when they brought the national health insurance formula for 2024, Johnny, listen and listen carefully. Absolutely no allocation was made for dialysis, the cost of dialysis. Nothing. It was there and then that we, especially the minority on the committee, insisted that something must be ring-fenced for the cost of dialysis in this country, else we're not going to approve the formula. So we, both at the committee level and on the floor of the House, pushed for an allocation for the dialysis. It was never a suggestion that emanated from the executive. So we referenced at the time, we referenced about 2 million Ghana cedis for that purpose, which was woefully inadequate because even Kolebu alone, it cannot take care of 2 cycles out of the 8 cycles for Kolebu. So all we're expecting was that government will come out with a sustainable way of financing the cost of dialysis in this country. Okay? Then the second leg of it was that when they sat down and realized that this money was woefully inadequate, they targeted the low numbers. For example, if you look at the Ghana Renal report, you realize that the population for dialysis patients is between 19 to 59. That's where about 80% of the population is.
Right.
Are you following the conversation?
I'm following you.
So between 0 to 18 and above 60 constitute only about 20%. And so they decided to go for the low-hanging fruit. That's fine. But that is not enough. And what is even worse in this scenario is that when we were even advocating for subsidies, the government went ahead to even increase the price or the cost of dialysis, which we are contesting in Parliament. I'll show you videos and evidence to that effect.
Right.
That was done in error, and that must be reduced. Again, when you are rolling out such policies, you should communicate officially to the facilities before you start rolling it out. But for the sake of politics, partisan one, of course, the vice president is struggling to take credit and leaving issues of the economy of what has happened. Meanwhile, he has no knowledge about what happened.
I see.
No, absolutely no knowledge. So where we are even pushing to go, we are not gotten there because, Johnny, this communication from the National Health Insurance Authority, this arrangement, is for only 6 months.
And do you find that troubling?
So after 6 months, what happens? And do you call this sustainable way of financing the national the dialysis problem?
It could be a pilot, some say. Don't you think so?
So they should say so if it is pilot. But you see, why do we have to even do pilot in the first place? Pilot to do what? That it will be successful. You want to try and see whether it will be successful financing dialysis. What is piloting about this? We have to look for money. People are suffering. People are dying. Before you finish piloting, do you know the number of people who have died as a result of that? And so we have all agreed that we need an absorption, the absorption by the government. And see, we are leaving the second leg of the conversation out, which is even more dangerous. Even if government decides to take the total cost, is the accessibility, the access. Because you go to some regions, they don't even have one dialysis machine, especially in the western of where I come from. And so if you would have to travel from Jaboso to Kumasi for dialysis, in and out to cost you more than, 200 to 300 Ghana cedis. So even if it is for free, it is costing the patient that much.
I see.
So how is government so before you even roll out these policies, it must be embedded in it that look, government. So what I was expecting the vice president to say is that okay, government has taken delivery of about 400 dialysis machines. It's been distributed to district hospitals and regional hospitals, and that the cost has also been absorbed. It has been communicated to all facilities. These were the things I was expecting, but he was struggling to take advantage. You see, because we are left with 6 months to elections, so let's do something. And all that. It's troubling because people see it as doing politics with the health of the people. And that is unexpected of a vice president.
I see.
Unbecoming of a vice president.
Now, this promise and the sustainability of same, was it at all in any way brought before the committee in Parliament, at least for you to also have your views on it, suggestions, etc., so that for the benefit of those who will become beneficiaries?
Not at all.
We will all be on the same page.
What we insisted on was that money must be allocated for that purpose. But what actually went into it, nobody engaged us on that.
I see.
So, yeah.
I know. Go ahead, please.
Okay, and yesterday, as you heard in the media, you realize that about 2 weeks ago, I started a conversation about the indebtedness of government to the National Health Insurance Authority.
That's correct. 2.4 billion, we're told.
Fantastic. And so, you see, let's be careful. And I've warned the CEO for National Health Insurance that, look, keep quiet. You are talking too much. And do the work you are expected to do. If you're not very careful, we are collapsing the National Health Insurance on your head. Johnny, before I released the press release, government was owing the National Health Insurance 12 months. 12 months. From May last year to May this year. That is how much the government was owing National Health Insurance. So they did some release after our release and compensation. Even without that, that took care of May, June, July. So from July to February, from July last year to February 2024, excluding March to May. Take note of that. So the 2.4 billion you are talking about excludes from March to May. We are in June. So from July to February alone, the government owes the National Health Insurance 2.4 billion. That's the kind of way. Johnny, you and I know that this is a special purpose vehicle.
Right.
That these monies are paid in advance. And the law is clear.
So that leads me to my next question.
Okay.
If I walk to a supermarket right now and decide to buy a bottle of water, I will have to pay 2.5% NHIL. I'll pay 2.5 Get Fund. I will pay VAT on it. If I bought it in a restaurant, I'll pay tourism levy 1% and maybe COVID fund as well, COVID levy. This 2.5% is deducted. I pay for it at the counter. And the law is very specific that in 30 days or after 30 days, this money should be remitted to the NHIA so that they can use it for our benefit and purpose. How did we come to owe if this is the process we have set? People are paying because you can't go and buy from the restaurant or supermarkets and tell them, oh, I'm going, I'll come back next week, come and pay NHI. They deduct it there. So how did we come to owe?
So this is mind-boggling. And the truth of the matter is that when the government collects these money, they use it for whatever they want to use it for, without using it for its intended purpose. So when the pressure is becoming unbearable, then they begin to hover around to look for money to go and pay a small percentage. Because, as you said, the money is collected at every point in time. So it is a lot easy even say after 30 days. It says within 30 days. So they're supposed to do just that. And the law goes ahead, 52, section 52.1 and 52.2. The law goes ahead to say that the minister responsible for finance must even come on the floor of the House and account for that amount every 6 months. And so what they do in actual fact is that once the money hits the consolidated account, what they are expected to do is to, the operating where there is directly, they should transfer or lodge the money directly into the National Insurance Fund, but they don't do it. So they will use the money for some other things. And that is why we have piled up these arrears. That's why we have piled up these arrears. And as I speak to you now, if you look at the budget for the National Health Insurance for 2024, apart from the capping, because, Johnny, you and I know that since 2018, this government has been capping the National Health Insurance Fund. I hope you are aware.
All right.
So what they actually do is that if they collect, let's say, 10,000 Ghana cedis, the government will say, okay, I've taken 4,000 Ghana cedis. Then yes, you can go to hell. Nobody can ask what I'm going to use that money for. Then the 6,000 Ghana cedis that is left, for them to lodge it directly into the account of the National Health Insurance Fund also becomes tug of war. You know, so as I speak to you now, the budget for the 2024 is around 6.8 billion. And already we are owing in the region of 2.4 billion. So if you do the mathematics, if we'll be able to clear the debt, government should be paying on average 700 million Ghana cedis every month to the National Health Insurance Authority. Failure to do this, the National Health Insurance Authority or the fund will have a big problem.
The call, I reckon, which was made from Parliament, was a unanimous one of both the majority side and the minority side on the Health Committee. People out there have said that looks strange because if you stand united in your call to demand from government to pay or their indebtedness to the NHIA, then it means that the problem is bigger than what we see. Is that really the case? Exactly
the case. Because, you see, you can't do politics with the health of the people. And you see, I had to write, and you see, in our panel, or there's a certain percentage of the members of the committee can call for an emergency meeting. So I had to write officially to the chairman to call for an emergency meeting so that we all meet. So what we requested was that, okay, because usually, Johnny, when you grant interviews in the media, then the closing question, then the journalists like you will ask you, so honorable, after this press conference and this talking, what next? This is a very common question I've been struggling to answer. So we need to go beyond that. After speaking on it on the floor of the House, in the media. What else can we do? So as a committee, we came together. Let's meet all the stakeholders. Yesterday, I insisted that the press must be present at the meeting. But unfortunately, the chairman ruled that one out. That no, this is our first meeting, and so he doesn't want the press to be there and all that. I didn't want to, push it further. I agreed. And so we engaged all the stakeholders. Controller was there, Minister of Finance was there, Minister of Health was there, the National Insurance was there. We were all at the table. And we asked them, tell us your problems. What can we do as members of parliament for you? So that the good people of Ghana will benefit what they are supposed to benefit.
Right.
And of course, there was a frank discussion at the table. And, as a leader, it isn't all conversation that I can put
that's
out
correct.
there.
That's correct.
I hope you will understand.
I understand you.
So I can't put everything out there. But at least yesterday, there was that commitment. They agreed that they've breached the law for all this while. And that there was that commitment, and we are charting a path. And if indeed we all respect and perform our part of the agreement, I think that that would not be bad at all. But as we stand now, if they don't pay anything between 600 to 700 million Ghana cedis to the National Health Insurance scheme monthly, the scheme will have a problem.
How do we ensure that this situation of indebtedness to the tune of more than 2 billion cedis doesn't happen again? Because we know how it affects local healthcare, private healthcare providers, and all of that. They complain. There's a specific law about deduction and transmission of the money to the authority. How do we prevent this from happening?
Johnny?
Yes, sir.
Before I come to that question, we don't know how it affects the service providers that much. We only know about their complaint. But Johnny, let me give you only 3 factors. Johnny, if you are owing a service provider from, let's say, last year, July, when the dollar to cedi, before you get $1 last year, was around 10 to 11 Ghana cedis. And now, it's beyond 16 Ghana cedis. How do you expect that service provider to survive? And they will not say that, government will not say that, because of the steep depreciation of the cedi, we'll add something to your money. Now, as I speak to you now, the UCG, Electricity Company of Ghana, they are removing the postpaid meters from the health facilities and giving them prepaid.
Why?
That's a policy. Ask the service providers. That's what they are doing. So now a hospital has a prepaid meter, not a postpaid one. Meanwhile, the National Health Service, National Health Insurance doesn't prepay them. They postpay them, and they delay the payment. How do you expect that person, and further even delay it, how do you expect them to pay? Let me tell you another funny one. Now, when they default in paying the SNIT for SNIT contributions for their workers, every day the SNIT, charge them a penalty for the service provider to pay. So when they owe another institution, government institution, they are paying penalty. Meanwhile, when government owes them, government doesn't pay a penalty. Johnny, are you following this?
I'm listening to you.
Good. What apart from that, I've not even spoken about inflation. Look at how the inflation of this country is galloping. And so, when it comes to the delay in releasing funds, it affects the service providers greatly, especially the pharmaceutical industry who import their raw materials and reagents by converting our city to get the foreign currency.
I see.
And the only way we can put an end to this matter is for any government in power to prioritize the health needs of the people in the country and to know that it is insensitive and to know that it is just not fair to cap the National Health Insurance Fund. If in anything at all, we have to further even put some money in it, because you see, the Abuja Declaration enjoins government to spend not less than 50% of the national budget on health So if you're not spending that 50%, why are you taking money from the national health insurance to go and do whatever you want?
I hear you. Kwabena Mintakando, we're grateful that you could speak to us this morning. Thank you. He's Member of Parliament for Dwabo, so he's also the ranking member on the Committee of Health in Parliament, and he's a rice farmer. When are you cooking jollof to invite us to come and eat? I hear these days it's Anwamo that is in vogue.
And the Anwamo, if you cook that Anwamo with my rice, Johnny, you will never eat any Anwamo with any other rice.
Helen wants to taste
and
the
rice,
Emutio.
Emutio.
I see. Okay.
You will love it.
Kwabena, thank you so much indeed. We're grateful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
That's Kwabena Mintakando. He's the MP for Dwabo. So Helen, you want to take a bite?
Yes, final thoughts on this one. Listen, when the Vice President announced this, I said this is a positive step, and we all want to see those who are afflicted with kidney issues getting the much needed help. However, we must move towards a more sustainable financing model for a long-term solution. The peace work, the charity work, that's not going to cut it. And this year, we should be hearing from our presidential hopefuls what exactly they are going to do to help the NHIS be more solvent. Because, I mean, it's the decline is something that you and I should be worried about. And hopefully in the coming days and weeks, I've been doing my own little research on what is really going on and how much monies are actually spent on the NHIS, all of that, all the monies we're paying. Where is the money really going?
Sikanoa. Well, stay with us. There's a final upcoming. There's more here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. It's 34 minutes after 9. My name is Johnny Hughes, and this song from Adwempa Band just speaks to what's been happening.